their blueprint say they're using it. Their blueprint is called the protocols. Okay? Protocols of the wise men of Zion. That's the blueprint. All right. So now, if that's a blueprint, is there anybody that is a renowned public figure that would warn us about the exact stuff that book say was about to take place? Is there any prominent figures where the warning about the protocols being implemented in this land taking place? Is there anybody that warned us that's prominent? When you do the research on central banking, you can go all the way back to the so-called Continental Congress in the early congressional debates about an international bank and those who was trying to loan the colonies money in order to re-enslave them. And there was a big fuss about it. And it's all in the congressional records about the discussions on central banking and those who they call Jews. Then again, there's another warning in the early 1900s by Henry Ford in the book called The Wandering Jew. And for some reason, that book gets a lot of people's feathers up in the roar. But if you trace the information and ask about the accuracy of the information, disregard the inflammatory attacks against it, just go with see if you can match up what he's saying. And he's pointing out exactly what's being said in the protocols that's taking place. So then the next question would be, is there anybody else that warned us? Well, we got two presidents to note to mention. Dwight Eisenhower warned about the ability to implement the plan of the military-industrial complex by his farewell address, where he warned about how foolish it was of him to sign in the law the military-industrial complex, and how it had the potential to be the undoing of this nation and to put this nation under the control of some nefarious forces. And if you can read his body language and his emotion, you looking at the video of him, he was shook. And he was a military man that had seen about everything, so why was he shook? The next one would be a couple of speeches given by John Fitzgerald Kennedy. One of them is Separation in Church and State, where he was approached by the Jesuits, and he was asked to do the bidding of the Jesuit Society of the Catholic Church, in which he turned them down. And he gave a speech about it called The Separation of Church and State. Then he gave another one about secret societies to the Associated Press up in New York, and where he described all of the things that they said that they was going to use: science, technology, information. He named them all. JFK named them all and said that that's what they were going to do to try to, this is what they was trying to use as what he called it, a megalithic conspiracy. Megalithic means very giant. So when you see a giant stone carving, they call it a megalithic stone because it's so big. It's the size that makes it megalithic. And it's like a very big plan that he's unveiling to the people of what's taking place and what he is up against, which led to him being assassinated by those same people that wanted to shut him up, and he wasn't going to stop talking because he was JFK. He was, you know, people focus in on his promiscuous behavior, but they overlook a lot of the stuff that he was telling you. He get credit for signing civil rights bills, but he was already gone when them got signed. So LBJ did that, but he didn't do that for the benefit of civil rights. He did it to calm the nation because he was coming into power in a hostile environment. You got to do something. Anyway, so all of this stuff is prophesied in there, but it's not prophesied as in it's prophesied as in the point it was already planned. Somebody already seen the timeline and knew how it was going to play out. So they put it in a book, and the book is coded. And when you understand the code, then you know what the book say. So all these preachers, they go to Bible school, and they learn the history of the book. They learn the history of the church. They learn the history of the Vatican. They learn the history of Rome. All this is part of biblical studies if you go to the Bible schools. This is not nothing extracurricular. So that means that any one of your preachers that went to Bible school either know or should have known the truth in order to tell you that there's no way that this Christ character in the Bible can be one person, and not alone can he not only be one person, that the events in the Bible are codes. They sequence codes to tell you the time according to stellar events that was read by astrologers thousands of years ago, and it was kept a record of in what they called the sacred halls. And that's why when they tell you about Christianity, right, in Africans, in America, accepting it, we didn't accept that stuff, which y'all not understanding. We knew what was ours in there, and we knew we can use it for the African conjure of liberation. The same tool, the poison, got an antidote in it. The poison got an antidote, because if you find the source material, when you find where it comes from, that changes everything. That changes the way the faces look. That changes the dynamic in how the story is told. It changes the structure that it lays in. It just doesn't read the same. The chapters and the verses and the books don't have the same connotations and meanings to it. It's a whole nother reality just opened up by knowing where they got it from. That's our shit. So when you understand where they got it from, the next thing you need to figure out is how the hell to use it. We now seen whether we agree with the religion of Christianity or not. We done all seen a prayer of one of the Psalms work. We've seen it in our lifetime in the African American community. Somebody mama then prayed the 23rd Psalm or the 91st Psalm or the 119th Psalm for their child, and their child came home safe from a situation that they was not supposed to survive. We've seen it work, but we don't know why it worked that time, but then another time it didn't. That make it inconsistent and less likely to be trusted. So why did it work one time but not another time? Why don't it work every time, all the time? Because you don't know how to use it. You know how to use it. It's science. It's not haphazard. It's not random. It's technique. It's formula. It's bringing all of these different things into a central point of view. Third eye mentality. Third eye mentality is different from opening your third eye. Third eye mentality is where you see all things converging. In your mind's eye, you condition yourself that everything means something, and I just got to find out how it all connects. Third eye vision. When you open your third eye, it'll do it automatically on its own. It'll do it automatically on its own. So they be telling us, oh, he's a false Christ. They'll tell you in a minute. But they never tell you that the only reason that they know is because they know Christ is a woman, Isis, queen of heaven and earth. And that the Son of Man is called the Son of Man as a derogatory term to make mockery of not having a biological father when she produced him, Heru, the widow's son, born without the aid of a man. The only one born wise enough to be the self-raised master, the master of masters, embodying the full wisdom of the ancient wisdom king himself thought. I'm just telling you how the game go. So put your preacher on the spot. Go sit down with him and watch this. If he went to Bible school, make him watch it and say, why you didn't tell me about the ancient tablets? And why you didn't tell me about the Babylonian doctrines of the Mishnah and the Talmud that influenced the Old Testament, or the old liar who was a liar in the beginning and there was no truth in him, who decided to subjugate the women. He decided to subjugate the women as a rebellious act because he couldn't produce a child on his own like the Queen of Heaven and Earth did. He felt jealous, so he wanted to make a move for the throne, as if the Galactic Council was going to sit there and let him do that, which would have been a damn fool to do some stuff like that, and got his ass kicked. But they waited good till their son was out of position because they know he was going to kick their ass, you know. And so that left a vacancy because the war broke out and it was so bad they had to quarantine the Earth zone and strip everybody of their memory until they try to get back some order to the chaos that was established when Enlil tried to move for the throne of the Queen of Heaven and Earth with his punk ass. And he called himself Yahweh in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, he was trying to offer the son the world in order to kiss his ass, because he know that at some point he gonna have to bow down too. So he want to try to offer him the whole world. It's all right there in your book. It ain't no secret. It ain't like I'm coming up with some new and unfounded information. It's right there in the book. It's not a secret. It's just that they told you to look at it how they tell you to look at it, from according to the Nicene Creed. Why would they write a creed on something that's innate in you? They can't do it, you know. So when you see when it say Paul saying that the Christ found it not blasphemy to exalt his thinking into the thinking of God, or to make himself one with God in mind and in spirit, he's connecting with his mama. Women have the ability to connect with their child where they can literally be at home washing dishes and they can be seeing everything their child doing at the park. They can see everything their child doing at the park. They don't even have to leave. But they told you to disconnect from your child. So this is why we need to restore the doula center, which, let me show you what they did. In a doula center, women give birth. Before they wipe the child off, that baby is on the teat. Only thing they do is clean their mouth out and slap them on the titty. They don't look for a cry response. They look for the suckle response. That's the bonding response. The cry response is the barrier response. It's the fear response, the terror response. And so at the doula center, they don't want the baby to cry. They suckle and bind with mama. So they take the baby, turn them upside down, open up their mouth, clear the pathway, never to give them a chance to cry, and stick them on the teeth. Then they wait until the baby get done suckling and fall asleep and start cleaning the baby and the mother up. That's the bonding period. Now, this is how you test this. Call your OBGYN, your prenatal doctor, or whatever field they in, and you ask one question. What happens when the mother looks directly into the child's eyes directly after birth while breastfeeding? That doctor, if they are not going to lie to you, is going to exactly tell you this. That is the strongest binding portion for a mother and child at that moment. The sooner, the better. Then, if you ask a biochemist what happens in this process, they're going to say, well, the mother is already in oxytocin overdrive. That's oxytocin is the chemical used to cause the contractions of the uterus in order to cause birth. And the areola of the woman stimulates the biological production of the oxytocin. And so while she already in overdrive, oxytocin pairs in the brain with something called beta endorphin and neuroepinephrine and creates a euphoria that they call absolute unconditional love. When the child and the mother bond, they both get to connect on that level. So the doctors now grab the baby, slap him up, pop him on the ass, pain response, fear response. He automatically in the state of terror. He producing adrenaline before he ever knew what his mother's eyes looked like. Before the sensory nerves in his lips locked on to the sensory nerves in her teeth that creates a neurological response in the mother that connects her to the child through him sucking on her areola because of the oxytocin beta endorphin response and what it does to the neuroelectrical pathways between the areola and the child's lips. This is what makes kissing sacred. Between the areola and the child's lips, it creates an arcing effect of bonding energy. Now the baby's brain is producing oxytocin, the same chemical as the mother. When they look eye to eye, now they soul to soul, because the eyes are the windows to what? They become one after birth. But you don't want that. Y'all like it the way it is with the torture of the children and all this stuff. Hey. So I ain't gonna hold y'all with my diatribe. I just know what the problem is and I know what the solution is. And whenever they get ready to come and read my books, I'm waiting on them and they dragging their feet, which is fine, but there's a whole lot of people out there that don't have to be suffering right now. They're suffering. And I got the team on standby, you know, whatever. I gotta wait on them to make their moves because they don't know if they really ready as they say they was. I guess supposed to be laying it down like smooth shit, smooth operator. I ain't supposed to be doing that in the secret, so they can keep doing their secret squirrel shit. I'm coming out and flat out telling them what it is. I ain't doing nothing in secret. I ain't supposed to be hiding and ducking. I'm supposed to just come out here, tell you what it is, and do what I do. But y'all getting scared, you know. People get scared to do their part. So now you know all of those fake Christ, Jim Jones and David Koresh and Son of Sam and whoever else they want to name as a Christ type are discovered because Christ is a woman, queen of heaven and earth. Son of man being me. It's only one resurrection, and it's called an Assyrian resurrection. Now, if y'all need some reference for that, just let me know, because I can drop a ton of references on you. And these references is referencing material that predates your Bible by at least a couple thousand years. Now, if they tell you that I'm making this shit up, it's what you ask, was you there? When it was 122 degrees and some motherfucker hanging out in the sun under a tree, asking if they was there, because I was there. I could tell them what direction the wind was blowing. That's what you do. You ask them if they was. I was there. And I know some more people that was there too. And they tell you the same thing I'm telling you now. I was there. I seen it. Now, I done read the book, Crack the Code. The devil waiting. He got his bags at the door. These conscious niggas won't let him leave. No, he done already been ousted. I done cleared everything from ninth dimension to fourth dimension. Now I'm just waiting on you three-dimension minded mortals to see what's in front of y'all face. And then we can make some progress. So if y'all got any questions, it'll be a good time to start putting them on the screen, and then I can deal with them. Otherwise, I'm just going to start winding down and clocking out. So come on with y'all questions. And Thank you, Carmen, Don Anderson. Yeah.